Where you fail to comply with all these international public the international standard that publications standard for books. And then for serial, journal, periodicals, without ISSN, they are equally a breach of international standard. Publications with cataloging in publication, CIP, cannot be regarded as having been fully complied or having fully complied with international publication standard or publishing standard of uniform bibliographic records. So if your publication does not have these numbers, depending on the type of publication, know that you are in breach. For online publications, let it also be mentioned here that publications are assigned, must be assigned digital object identifier, DOI, on the first page of the electronic journal article. That's closer to where you have the copyright information. So if your publication does not have this, you know it is not in order. Legal deposit practice and awareness creation. How do we create awareness for this legal deposit practice? Effective legal deposit practice guarantee the citizens and researchers nationally and globally to have access to publications of nations published resources. Then the legal depository practice are also associated with all activities carried out by National Library so as to ensure comprehensive collection of legal deposits of national publications. Besides, we have other activities that must also be taken into consideration, engaging in sensitization like we are doing here. And in the advocacy, when I come to it, I will mention it. This does not, it should not stop here. We should penetrate the institutions, penetrate schools, penetrate ministries, penetrate different sectors of the economy rather, to be sure that there can be reasonable compliance to this deposit law. Now, awareness should also be created during periodic sensitization workshops organized by those who are launching their own books. When we talk about book launch, it should also be mentioned. But very unfortunately, when you are talking about book launch, you may not have a good number of people. Unless you are talking about PDP or APC or something like that. This hall would have been filled to the brim, if you know, up to outside. But then you know that the quality of those present will be different. But when it comes to books, we are not booked enough, like Father said. We are not booked enough. So many are not booked enough. Even those who are publishing, or some people that have been to school, to some extent they don't even want to read again. The only situation they might want to read is if they open a page, they say dollars. Every page has dollars, pound sterling, naira, and all that. That is where they may be interested in reading. It should not be so. It shouldn't be so. Now, let us take a look at legal deposit practice in other climes. What we are saying here does not only apply to Nigeria. If you go to the United Kingdom, they have their own laws. As a matter of fact, before you can even distribute your books, you must deposit first with the government. That is for United Kingdom. And you go to a place like Sweden, the laws are very clear. You go to South Africa, the laws are very clear. You go to Italy, Luxembourg, and Russia, all these laws are stated clearly to enable them comply with international best practice and international legal standards. So it is not only a Nigerian affair, it is an international affair for the purpose of making your publication, your book, or whatever you author to have credibility and acceptability everywhere. And so, we go further to say here that international standard music number for all those who are in the music industry, you must also have the numbers. There are some laws that you are supposed to comply with before you go ahead to release your music or whatever. That is also a very important affair. What becomes authors' motivation and even the roles in compliance with international publishing standard? Some authors are motivated to write as a result of the fact that they want to grow on their own job. For instance, in the university system, there is one statement that you publish or you perish. In sister institutions, they also attach importance to this. You publish or you perish. And therefore, in order to grow on the job, you go about publishing. But what is the quality? What is the substance of what you are publishing? And so, in a culture where the major motivation for writing is to overcome career stagnation or retrogression, the goal of publishing may be driven by the desire to conform with publishing standard. And so, in this circumstance, the goal may be just to get the required number of publications. But what is the quality of the publication that you have? And that is why some people, maybe for assessment, for promotion, when their papers are sent out, it will be returned. Why is it returned? Because the publications are not of a standard, and so they cannot be promoted. Therefore, when you are writing, be sure that your publication or whatever you are writing meets the international standard, and the substance of what you are writing is what can be accepted. Now, authors therefore have a role to play. The books he publishes contain, or the book that contains its own chapter, or that he publishes, complies with the basic legal deposit laws. The books he publishes, or that contains its own chapter, should comply with the law, and that is publishers. You ensure that your publishers use the ISBN number for books where your work appears. And then you should also check and confirm if online journals that most of us are running to provisions so that your book or your journal can be accepted. There seems to be a decreasing trend in compliance in some states of Nigeria by authors, because there is also a conflict between the legal deposit law with the federal government and the legal deposit law that are applicable in some states. There are some areas of discrepancy. And of course, the awareness of the lack of commitment on the part of the authors or publishers could be advanced as further evidence of non-compliance calls for sensitization or calls for more intellectual inquiry in order that we may comply with the legal deposit laws. There are some challenges in compliance. We talk about lack of sufficient awareness. Some people may be aware, but the awareness is not sufficient. Then logistic problems. Somebody is publishing a book and spending so much amount of money without being assisted anywhere, and at the end, you want him to pack some copies and deposit in the National Library. Some see it from that perspective and say, no, the obligation is too much. And so even when they know the law, they don't want to comply with that. It becomes a problem. Then ignorance about the procedure of compliance is also a problem. Some have the ignorance. Some are ignorant and may not even understand what it takes. They only see a book, and so they don't understand why a book should have or should comply with international standard. Their unwillingness to comply, but follow the shortcut. Some of us prefer the shortcut. They can just go and program numbers for themselves and claim that to be the ISBN number, and the book is in circulation, and they are selling it. It's very, very common. Go to Araria Market. You see so many of such books. So many foreign books that have been manipulated, and the numbers are being changed, altered day and night, and they become full-fledged books. You reading the book, you might not even know that such a book may not comply with the international standard. It's a problem because they prefer shortcuts. Lack of clarity about the law and what authors publish are also constitute a problem. Now, importance of compliance with international standard. What do you stand to gain if your publications comply with the international standard? Of course, you know that international standard book numbers or international serial number, ISSB, ISSBN, ISSN, they help you and your authors, your publishers, to track your intellectual output. And with ISBN, ordering of information materials is sufficient for national libraries, and I sense it offers basic identifier with a common structure that could be easily be used to attract your book and get your book from wherever it is. For instance, as I stand, any of my publications anywhere in the world, through the platform of what they call academia, I can know who downloads the paper, who gets it. As I was sitting down there, I got some alerts. Some people outside the country, anywhere. So if you key into this platform in academics, you key into this, you will be able to know anywhere your paper goes to. And you'll be able to see whoever has consulted your work, whoever has downloaded your work anywhere in the world. It's a common practice and can be adopted by academicians so that it can be academic enough. It is one thing to be in academics and quite a different thing to progress and know the precise ways of progressing. So, that is that. ISBN facilitates electronic data exchange by providing distinction between particular edition of a series. And then it distinguishes specific qualities of publications and also differentiates between book and serial numbers. We talk about national library and nation building. I started by saying that a nation with no memory has no future. With a national library that takes care of our own future, the giant of our own future, Nigeria has a future. And if you're a publisher and your book, your publication complies with the legal standard laws, it means that you have a future about that particular book. And so, National Library of Nigeria is a dynamic tool for national development. It does not just stop in what we are talking here. It contributes to national development, nation building. It ensures unlimited access of Nigerians to information resources needed for self-actualization, nation building, and global competitiveness. And of course, through strategic direction and service delivery, the National Library of Nigeria preserves the country's cultural and literary heritage to support research and educational activities as well as promote reading culture among Nigerians. By providing user-friendly service delivery, access for all, innovation and creativity, as well as effective use of resources. It captures fundamental aspects of nation building. So development is very vital for a nation. If we say all this about National Library without emphasizing how it contributes to nation building, and then there is a gap somewhere. So National Library is associated with the continuous and relapsing improvement of a country in diverse strategic and dynamic directions, such as political, educational, cultural, technological, international, and socio-economic sectors. It fosters the attainment of national goals, socio-cultural goals, as well as economic goals. And the absence of informed strategic decision-making is a problem for a nation. With the National Library, it becomes possible for us to have, take informed decision. Because when you read, you have the memory, and you have seen what others have contributed, it becomes necessary, of course, a tool for you to take an informed decision. But unfortunately, you see that even most of all the political aspirants that are running around here, we will have their details, things about them in the National Library. It will be a simple matter for us to know who is actually credible, who is not credible. It will be a simple thing. Most of these informations are there in the National Library, but how do we access it? Most of us don't even access this information. If you are accessing it, you will know that in case of corrupt public officers, available information about them could also be accessed in the public library to guide informed decision making. Unfortunately, we discover that in a place like Japan, if somebody is found corrupt, according to National Library records, as a matter of fact, he kills himself. He doesn't even want to stay. He kills himself. And then in China, the people will even kill him because they have been known that he's corrupt. And then in Europe, the government will jail him because the records have proved it, that he does not what he's saying. But in Africa, corrupt persons, even with documented evidence, are celebrated. As a matter of fact, we reward them with chieftaincy titles and at the same time present them for election. In Nigeria, again, you discover that corrupt persons are decorated with some bishopric attire. Even when we have known the evidence, how can this help, such things help nation building or national development? It's a problem. All these informations are available in the National Library of whoever presents himself for elective positions. Government should also try to be sure that all their publications are made available to National Library. I saw some documents a few days ago from is it Nigerian Economic Community, Nigerian Economic Council, or the federal government. And I took a look at the characteristics of this document. It does not depict the characteristics of a document that should be from the federal government. It does not comply in whatever form with what we are preaching here. So it must start, we have to re-strategize. Let it start from above and also come from government so that these practices can actually be embraced to enable us reap the dividend of legal deposit compliance. Now, we could also say here that the libraries are important in the development of a nation.
Permit me to say that the National Library of Nigeria is entering a new era.
They might not always be top of the mind of government. Most government, depending on who comes in, might not even be interested in National Library.
Afford to
may not even understand the services of National Library. I was in a workshop somewhere in one of the states, and one of the librarians there mentioned to me that when they were discussing things about how to improve or innovate a National Library, that the roof had curved. A commissioner for education in that state asked a question, what are the functions of the National Library? So if a commissioner for education does not understand the functions of the National Library, you can imagine what happens. Thank God such a thing does not happen in a Bible state. It doesn't happen here. It happens elsewhere. So today's modern libraries are hubs of community development, connecting the broad civic agenda and boosting local economies by developing small business and even the workforce. National Library equally makes provision for fighting the war against illiteracy. It fosters social reconstruction, innovation, better decision making, and also facilitates accreditation of programs by National Universities Commission. The library is a fundamental aspect of nation building in that the National Universities Commission gives almost the biggest part of the marks. Out of 100%, it gives so much amount of marks to library services. That tells you of the importance of the library services. It tells us of the importance of library services. And it's very, very important. After having said all this, let me very quickly go into the imperatives, the advocacy, and then round up the presentation. And by so doing, we say here that we have captured legal deposit compliance for publishers, authors, and stakeholders. And at the same time, we have taken a look at the various details of National Library and the legal deposit compliance. Then, this paper, we wish to advocate that we have a kind of what I refer to as digital nervous system responsible for the maintenance of international publishing standard and implementation of legal deposit provisions. What do I mean by this digital nervous system? In that case, you have the National Library at the center, connecting to the universities, connecting to the polytechnics, connecting to colleges of education, the ministries, departments, agencies, secondary schools, colleges of education, and even the state libraries, working as partners in progress in order that all of us can put hands together and know that we must achieve the aim of library services in Nigeria. Where National Library is working in isolation and other institutions are working in isolation, it becomes a problem. There is need for synergy. There is need for collaboration. And that's what I refer to as a re-strategizing in order that all the stakeholders are brought into the fore in order that we can succeed. There is nothing wrong in having National Library in some of the communities and extending this sensitization to even the communities where the paramount rulers and where the people from different areas will be aware that there is a place like a National Library, because this has to do with learning. This has to do with capacity building. This has to do with acquiring the knowledge of the citizenry. So the paper advocates this collaboration among in the National Library. And so it is also advocated that to ensure actualization of the 8-point agenda of the National Librarian, there should be improved funding that is satisfactory enough by the government in order to appreciate, the branches. Most of the branches around us here don't even have, even in Nigeria, they don't have the logistic support. So the government should give the enabling logistic support to the branches of national libraries and the National Library as a whole in order to foster the benefits and then have the benefits of a national library. But National Library, on the other hand, should exhibit creativity, innovation, and what I call entrepreneurial spirit to generate revenue internally in support of the federal government budgetary allocation. Because one thing is to allocate, to budget, but they may not even release. National Library of Nigeria should synergize with librarians in tertiary institutions, like I said earlier, facilitate and ensure smooth implementation of the legal depositor provisions. We should partner with the state, we should partner with the public libraries, the private libraries, academic libraries, to ensure proper compliance with the legal depositor provisions. We should also partner with authors, publishers, should extend the sensitization workshop to secondary schools, even to primary schools, in order that from the beginning you can catch them young. With due respect to the chairman, he concluded by saying that we have ample provision for library services at Top-Fed University, Top-Fed Secondary School, Top-Fed group of schools. If the children are staying there and they have never heard anything about National Library, to them, when they hear about it somewhere else, it becomes a nuisance. So let us take it to the schools. Let us take it to the primary schools. It could be on local government basis, it could be on state basis, it could be a regional basis in order that from the beginning, these children or these peoples will be aware of the existence of National Library of Nigeria, their benefits, their do's and don'ts. From that beginning, it becomes important. Then we should harmonize the multiple laws of state and the federal government. Like I said earlier, some states have laws that are not in compliance with the laws of the federal government. But you may say here that in a case where there is conflict of the laws between that of the federal government and that of the state, then that of the federal government prevails. So there should be a kind of harmonization of the multiple laws from state and the federal government so that we may work towards providing a remedy, if I call it actionable remedy, towards compliance by stakeholders. Authors and publishers require more and continuous education. We call for more capacity building. Let it be continuous in order that we can improve on the situation. Awareness of the importance and benefits of national library services and legal deposits should be increased. As a matter of fact, we should utilize book fairs. When we hear about book fairs, we hear about book launch, we should carry a deposit obligation laws to them in order that they may embrace and even be aware of such a law. Then we should provide task force to survey books published and be sure that the task force will check to be sure the books displayed there comply with legal depositor compliance. We maintain periodic legal deposit drive to enforce this. And of course, you know that most people may not want to believe the law. They may not want to comply with the law. But a little enforcement and compliance with the law can make the people to understand that this thing is serious. And they will try to sit up. So this actionable advocacy provides definite solution to the obvious problems of National Library. And I want to conclude by saying that where all these advocacies are put in place, it will be necessary and possible to ensure that legal deposit laws are complied with. My duty in this paper presentation here is very simple. In fact, to set the pace. And I have provided what I call the intellectual manual for deliberations by others. Thank you. Giving a solution to the obvious problems of National Library. And I want to conclude by saying that where all these advocacies are put in place, it will be necessary, possible, to ensure legal deposit laws are.
Can you put your hands together for the Professor Akpan? He has been a wonderful one, Mr. Chairman. And a quick one now, good people.
For deliberations by others. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, sir, may I have the privilege of introducing the representative of the Vice Chancellor of University of Uyo. He's being represented by Dr. Iwat Odofia, who is the University Librarian, University of Uyo. Thank you very much. Can you put your hands together as it comes up? Good people, let me also recognize the representative of the Honorable Commissioner for Education. She is Mrs. Esther William Etuk Umo. Please, can you come up, please? Madam, can you come up? Yes. I want to also introduce the representative of the Honorable Commissioner for Science and Technology, Mrs. Joanne Anietie Ekong. Please, Madam, are you there? Yes. Yes. Thank you very much, good people, and we have to move. At this point in time, good people, let me introduce our host. Where we are, as I said earlier, is called Wadbridge Hotels and Suites. There's somebody here, Mr. Chairman, who happens to be the head of practice in this hotel. He happens to be a former commissioner for environment, Akwa Ibom State. He also happened to be a man who has worked so much into politics, but not as a professional politician, but a professional in politics. He's also a lawyer by profession. Let me introduce the PDP senatorial candidate for Akwa Ibom State, the head of practice of Wadbridge Hotels and Suites, Dr. Ekong Samson. You're welcome, sir. Sir, may you also take that privilege, because you've told me that you will not have much time to wait, to just say a word, just a minute word for us by way of remarks. Thank you very much. You're welcome, sir.
The chairman of this occasion, a man filled with vision, the founder of the top Fed behemoth, Dr. Emmanuel Abraham. Let me appreciate my friend who came to you and hid. Mr. Richard Mama, my very good friend, President, Network of Book Clubs in Nigeria. Let me appreciate our professors who have been here, the guest lecturer who gave a lot of insights as I sat and listened, the members of the high table, especially my own senior and the pillar of my campaigns, former member of the State House of Assembly, Otume Koginikot. Let me appreciate everyone. I'm here because I'm part of the library environment, principally. I think I listened to part of the insights that were delivered, and what clearly emerged is that the time has come more than ever for Nigeria to look closely at the legal framework surrounding our library and the publishing industry. More than ever, we need to have access to information. I think that is much of what we are looking at today. The legal underpinnings that will further drive the publishing and the library environment in this country. Sometimes I wonder whether we wear gas masks in this country. A lot of information is hidden, some stored away. We need to broaden access to information. But even more centrally, we need to explore the trajectories of law that will help to broaden that access. And one way that we can do this is by looking at the gaps to be filled in respect of the legal framework about deposits. Legal deposit is very important because it creates the type of access that we need. It also provides the safeguards that we need to make the library environment more interesting. We need those safeguards. We need to open up the space. For now, a lot is still hidden. The library is very important. I mean, because I have made it very clear at various fora that the more we have a storehouse, the easier it is for have the right documentations. And the more we read, the safer we are as humanity. The key question now is, are we reading enough? Are more people having access to what we call the library superhighway? We need to have in Nigeria a library superhighway. And one way that we can achieve this is by creating the type of environment where legal deposit is encouraged. That has to be done. Because a society that operates without legal safeguards is endangered. So we must move from having the perceptions that we have normally about the library environment to one where we have strong legal safeguards that will further drive our consciousness. We live in interesting times in this country. As we prepare for elections, as we build upon the gains of our democracy, let us not lose sight of the need for Nigeria to have proper safeguards for our publishing industry. We don't need a type of industry that operates in opaqueness. We need a library environment where access is guaranteed. I think that explains part of why we are here. Let me salute the organizers of this seminar, of this workshop, as it were. This properly is a colloquium, offering, as it does, very rich insights that one trusts will make the library environment even more interesting in this country. As I said earlier, much of my life has been lived in the library. I think I was introduced closely with Wardbridge. I'm an advisor to this environment. And but what makes this Wardbridge to stand out, my friend, maybe you may not have been told that this is one environment where you have a library. It is rare to have a hotel that has a library. It's virtually unheard of But Wardbridge is one environment where guests can stroll out and explore mentally through the library that has been established here. I also established a school some years back, and for some years, the school ran tuition-free. I made sure that the school was well equipped with a good library. And that school scores 100% in the WAEC exams. It ran free, no tuition for a number of years. This has to be so because we must show a clearer and deeper commitment to the intellectual space. The more we encourage the intellectual space to be wider, the richer we are as humanity. So let me say congrats to the organizers of this workshop. I wish I could stay much longer because I've been very excited by the insights that I've been given. But I have to run out. I'm running for election. So I need to also go and talk. Because we need to be in the various theaters of power to give Nigeria the type of intellectual climate that we need in this country. That is part of why I'm running to the Senate. I'm aspiring. And you can be assured, Mr. Chairman, that when I'm in the Senate, the key issue of legal deposit will be addressed. I can assure you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, erudite scholar, a legal luminary, and then the governor of practice of Wardbridge and Towers, Hotels and Towers. So thank you very much, sir. And Mr. Chairman, sir, has been directed. I would like to take just a word from the representative of the Comptroller of Immigration, sir. Just a word. Thank you very much, madam.
The chairman, sir, standing on the existing protocol. I know. I want to thank the organizer of this program for this wonderful lecture presentation. I have learned a lot, and even though I'm not art inclined, but I've learned something which I will still pass down to our service, especially our training college, because we do have libraries too. And I will make sure that the books there go in line with the standard. I also want to advise the publisher, just like the professors have said, please, there are rules and regulations guiding us. Let's obey the laws. If you don't obey the law, that's where we come in. We'll come and arrest you. Yes. So let's obey the law, follow the protocols guarding the publishing of book. I know that when we do that, Nigeria will be a better place. And also, just like Professor Chinwe said, she said, once they are producers, there should also be what? Consumers. And I believe that everybody here, the Bible even said it, that my people perish because of what? Lack of knowledge. If you don't read, you won't be knowledgeable. So let's make use of this wonderful opportunity and learn more on what the national librarians have for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. What a man can do, women can do as well. Put your hands together for me. Because we are also gender sensitive, so that we play at the balance. Because when you say they are doing better, many things happen in my home. And when my wife said, Daddy, I said, what's the problem? It was outside the compound. Daddy, just come. Because the issue is that if you mention the word snake, the snake will run away. But you have to call me at a distance. Daddy. I said, what's the problem? He said, I said, what is it? That small snake, just kill the leg. But she was afraid of that. So what a man can do, women can do as well. Put your hands together for the truth. Now, good people, let me invite somebody, Mr. Chairman, to give us a goodwill message briefly. It will be a brief goodwill message, abridged as much as possible, please, for the time and lack of it. From the Vice Chancellor of University of Uyo, represented by Acting Librarian, Dr. Iwat Udofia. Doctor, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. The chairman of the occasion, Dr. Emmanuel Abraham, founder of Tophet University, the National Librarian and CEO of the National Library of Nigeria, Professor Chinwe Anunobi, and other members of the high table. I'm presenting the address by the Vice Chancellor of University of Uyo, who is unavoidably absent because of the very busy engagement at the university upon resumption. An address presented by the Vice Chancellor, University of Uyo, Professor Nyaudo Yu Ndayo, on the occasion of a one-day sensitization workshop organized by the National Library of Nigeria, held in Uyo, Kwaiwom State, on Monday, 31st October 2022. How the ISBN impacts the academic community. An ISBN is a 13-digit unique identifier for a publication. An ISBN allows the publisher, author, title, and edition details of a publication to be traced and can increase the potential exposure or feasibility of a piece of research to the external community. In January 2007, ISBN jumped from 10 to 13 digits to address the shortage of available 10-digit codes. The additional 3 digits made up of the ISBN prefix, which is a number compatible with the European article number system. When this system was set into motion, 13-digit ISBN codes included the 978 prefixes. However, the ISBN block sizes starting with 978, such as 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, etc., are dwindling. For this reason, assignment of 978 and 979 were simultaneous. However, while books with a 978 ISBN prefix allow systems to contain both a 10-digit and a 13-digit version, books starting with 979 do not have a corresponding 10-digit ISBN. Once this change is enacted, only 13-digit ISBNs starting with 978 or 979 will be used to identify a book. What does ISBN mean to the academic community, such as the University of Uyo, as a case study? An ISBN code is crafted to make books easy to track, and it contains valuable information describing the book. When researching, the new 13-digit code system is important to note. Searching for a book in a database is tricky, but being aware of the new prefix streamlines the process. An author going through a publishing house or an e-publishing company would not have to worry about this change personally, as most publishers have noted the change and updated their systems appropriately. But for the self-publisher, it is important to know two things. All 10-digit codes will need to be reformatted into a 13-digit code, and the new pairing country code is key for all publishing within our country. It could take some time before this change is fully implemented, but for authors and publishers alike, this change in coding is crucial. The International Standard Serial Numbers. An international serial number is an 8-digit code used to identify newspapers, journals, magazines, periodicals of all kinds, both print and electronic. Attaching an ISSN to a serial maximizes feasibility and circulation. Relevance to the academic library. The academic library is a library that is attached to a higher institution and serves two complementary purposes: to support the curriculum and the research of the university faculty and students. At the University of Uyo Library, there are over 200 print resources and more than 3,550,000 electronic resources. The circulation of these resources is highly enhanced by the ISBN and ISSN. The ISBN is key to an efficient and effective book supply chain by ensuring that information pertaining to every book issued in the market are stored in print database, which is used by publishers, retailers, and librarians around the world. ISBN and ISSN are assigned by authorized agencies, such as the National Libraries, to every book or edition of a book prior to publication to authenticate the title, edition, publisher, volume, numbers, etc. The ISBN is particularly useful to librarians and book retailers in ordering, as it helps to eliminate misunderstanding or mistakes about the exact book title and edition required. We are therefore excited to be part of this sensitization workshop, as it will afford you the opportunity to educate and inform our people of the importance of ISBN and ISSN. A special welcome to all our visitors and participants in this workshop, and I wish you a happy and fruitful deliberation. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, the representative of the Vice Chancellor of University of Uyo. Doctor, that is a wonderful one. The VC knew who is sent. It falls within their purview and your understanding as an acting librarian. Put your hands together once again for him. Mr. Chairman, sir, at this point, we have to call on attention, Helen Ebi. Attention is required downstairs to do a very important thing at this point. Yes, she's coming. She'll be here.
Animals they in human form. Body man nobody like work, but you must hustle if you
thank you very much. We invite thank you very much, erudite chairman. The chairman knows it all. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that if you look at your program, you have part 1 and part 2. Because of lack of time and the want of it, we have to move, Mr. Chairman, directly to where it is written part 2, paper presentation. Mr. Chairman also wants to listen to the paper presentation. And if there is a vote of thanks at this point in time, believe me, that means the occasion is rounded up immediately. So may I invite paper presenter Mrs. M. Kayode to
guys, them know me. Since 06, I've been writing this story. I know be OG, but if you ask them
Mr. Chairman, sir, let me invite the director in charge of this other part, what we call the part 2, to please kick up the occasion so that we can bring out the paper presentations immediately. Amaka, okay.
Thank you, Mr. MC. Ladies and gentlemen, please just permit me to make some comments in line with what you have already heard. Looking at your program, we are basically supposed to run up part 1 and enter part 2. I understand there is a wonderful preparation for sumptuous lunch that's going to go around every one of us. But for me, nothing will be more lunch than us achieving the basic objective of why we're here. We have listened to a lot of things that have been said. For me, I always like interaction. You must have heard that I'm a teacher. You can't just be sitting there. There may be some things that are agitating you. So we need that engagement. And I want to plead with you, sir, and ma, that we don't need to scatter now. Let us just sacrifice, take a few moments from now, and allow us take the very core issues that brought us here, so that we can engage ourselves, even amongst us. This is a workshop, and it's supposed to be very engaging. It's not going to be long. Immediately after these few moments, we'll find time to go and do our lunch, and then take our photographs, and take away what is taken away, and then we go. That is my plea. It is on that note that I would like the MC to re-invite the person that is to anchor this session, the madam that is going to anchor this session for us to get ourselves engaged and deal with the nitty-gritties of this workshop.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Please, madam, you are being invited. Can you put your hands together for the chairman? Because the chairman has wisdom, he's an educationist. And madam, you're welcome.
Good afternoon, the chairman and all other. I stand on existing protocols. Yes, I'm standing on existing protocols. You're all welcome to the second session. The second session is all about the paper presentation from the staff of International Standards and Programs Department. She is going to take a paper on ISBN, ISSN, and CIP. And then there's going to be a second paper presentation by the staff of Legal Deposit Department. And she is going to take a paper on legal deposit compliance. Please, lecturers, publishers, authors, please listen attentively. And as they are presenting, please put down your questions, because why we are here is to educate you. You know, there are a lot of ignorance out there, and that is why we brought it down to Uyo this year, because we have a lot of publishers and authors in this state. So please listen attentively. Why I call on the first presenter, Mrs. Kayode, to present. Okay.
Thank you very much, Ma. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here to present, Mr. Chairman, sir, Dr. Emmanuel Abraham, the representative of the Vice Chancellor, University of Uyo, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm here to present a paper titled Administration and Utilization of ISSN, ISBN, CIP in Publishing Industries in Nigeria. As a way of introduction, I want to say that in a world where information is revolving and knowledge is power, ISBN, ISSN, CIP fits right in. With books written and published at mind-blowing speed, there's need for some checks and standard. Publishing in indigenous language is another thing that plays a vital role in teaching and learning situations of our country. Writing in indigenous language will keep the language alive, just like every other presenter have mentioned. ISBN, ISSN can also be assigned to indigenous materials that are being published in this country. So any material that is being published or previously produced and is being translated into any indigenous language requires a new ISBN or ISSN. So I'm going to my presentation proper. International Standard Serial Number, which stands for ISSN, is an internationally accepted code which identifies the title of a publication, serial publication, or online integrated resources. It's an 8-digit number which takes the form of two groups of 4 digits separated by a hyphen preceded by the acronym ISSN. For example, we have ISSN 0331-0000 for Niger Biblos. ISSN is an 8-digit number that identifies serial publication. And ISSN is meaningless if it is not well communicated. What do I mean by that? If you request for an ISSN and your bibliographic details are not complete, if you don't give us your full details when you are applying for the number, there's no way we can send your details to the international center. Thereby, your ISSN is not communicated because when you Google it, you will not find it on the international database. But if you give us the full bibliographic details that we need when you are applying for ISSN, the moment we issue you an ISSN, within 2 weeks, you can access it online. You will see the number attached with your title. So in getting an ISSN, we have different things that we need to put in place. But before then, we have a way that we display our ISSN. How do we display ISSN? If you get an ISSN for your print publication, your ISSN should be shown preferably on the upper right corner of your cover. Okay. Okay, please go on. Okay, how to display ISSN? ISSN should be preferably be on the upper right corner of the cover of your publication or on the pages where the information is being shown. That's the editorial page when you are displaying your ISSN. Then for publication in electronic medium, it should be shown on the home page or on the menu if it is an online publication. Guidelines for obtaining ISSN. We have different steps that you need to apply when you are requesting for ISSN. The first and most important thing to do is we do a title verification in order to avoid duplication of titles with 2 or more publishers. Your title, when you give us your title for verification, the first thing is you make sure that your title is unique. It has to be concise, not lengthy, and you preferably don't include frequency when you are doing a title verification. For example, you say maybe daily mail. Your frequency can change at any time, which will affect the title of that publication. Then when we do a title verification and your title is free, it is expected that you should indicate on your application letter the formats, whether print or online. If the publication is going to be a print publication, you tell us that it's for print, and if it's for online. So if it's for an online resources, you give us the URL page. That's an extension to the journal, not the website. We need the URL that links the journal. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. For example, we have Bayes University. They applied for an ISSN. Initially, they gave us the Bayes University website, which is www.bayesuniversity.edu.ng. It does not lead to the journal. It has different things on that website. But we requested that we want the actual URL that leads to the journal itself when they supplied it. And as you can see, the first image is different from the second one. The first is the URL without extension to the journal, while the second image is the URL with extension to the journal. It leads directly to the journal. So that is what we expect. If you are publishing any online publication, you should give us the direct link to that publication. Back, please. And on that publication, on the online publication, you must have at least 5 articles, more than 5 articles to access, because we are going to open the page and see if we have at least 5 articles. So if those publications are not there, we are at liberty not to issue ISSN number. Then you forward us a typed application letter, which is going to be addressed to the Director, International Standard and Serial Department, International Standard and International Standard and Programs Department. You send a written application to the director, and then you photocopy your CSC certificate if it is a company, an individual publisher now, publishing for an author, or you are publishing for a school. You attach the CSC certificate. But if it is the school that requests for ISSN directly, we don't need a CSC certificate for the school. What we need is just the application letter, a letter-headed letter of that institution, and signed by the editor that is in charge of the journal. Then recently we have a software that we developed for ISSN, though we have not launched it yet. It is developed to accommodate online application of ISSN. Instead of going all the way to maybe the branch, if you meet up with all our requirements, first of all, you do your title verification, you meet up with all the bibliographic details that we expect from you, then you can apply online. And that one will soon be launched. Then ISSN is free, but however, you are expected to pay a fee of 10,000 naira. 10,000 naira for ISSN. Then I'm talking about predatory journal. We all understand that some of the journals that come out from some of the publishers are not scholarly enough. And we want to just use this medium to enlighten our audience on what predatory journal is all about. Predatory journals are called fraudulent or deceptive pseudo journals. They are publications that claim to be legitimate and scholarly, but they misinterpret the publishing practices. And how do you know that a journal is predatory? Is that the website, when you check the website, is not scholarly website, it doesn't have all the details that a scholarly website should have. So the way forward is you always check the website thoroughly to know that it is a scholarly publication. And then you check if that journal is a member of the Directory of Open Access Journal, that's DOA, or Open Access Scholarly Association. You check the journal content. You also check the editorial board and check for peer review of past issues that have been issued from that particular journal. So instead of sending your articles to journals that are not scholarly, it's better you take this precaution. You check all these things to know if your journal is going to the right place to be published or not. Because most of us are academias, we are scholars, and we want our journals to appear in a well-recognized journal. So these are the things that you need to check when you want to send your paper to any of the journals that are publishing. So you check if those journals are predatory or not. Then we have the Directory of Open Research Journal, which we call ROAD. It's a services offered by the International Center with the support of the Communication and Information Sector of UNESCO. And it is launched in 2013. It provides free access to those ISSN bibliographic records which describe scholarly resources in open journals, just like I mentioned earlier, monographic series, conference proceedings, academic repositories, and scholarly blogs. So we have criteria to belong to that you need to meet up to be able to access, to be able to have your journal on the ROAD network, which is a services that is rendered by the International Center. One of the criteria is you have to know that if there's any false declaration, it is already an exclusion criteria. You will not be able to have your journal on the ROAD network. And then we'll check the types of the resources. What type of resources are coming out in this journal? Then the accessibility. All the content must be on open access. And then there must be an open access. They must have a dedicated URL, just like I mentioned earlier, that leads directly to the journal. It must have the license must be an open license and open access policy that should describe on the website because of copyright infringements. All this needs to be put in place. And then the editorial board, the person that is in charge of the editorial board needs to mention by name who the editorial or scholarly responsibility lies with. We need to know all that. And then we need to know if it's an academic affiliation. That is, the institution must be a research or university, be it private or public. It must have a peer review. With all these criteria, you'll be able to know if your journal is going to the right place or not. So it's a services that we just started in National Library. I want to encourage you to please make sure your journals meet up with all these criteria so that we can also put it on the ROAD network with the International Center, because we have the support from the International Center to include journals that are published in Nigeria on the ROAD network. So I'm talking about the next slide, please. ISBN. Okay. ISBN is a 13-digit unique number that identifies each specific edition of a book. ISBN became a 13-digit in 2007, which was initially 10 digits. The number is divided into 5 different parts of variable length, and each part is separated by an hyphen. Example, we have the 978-978-794-001-1. You will see that we have 2978, but for some people, they will assume it's just is a duplication of number. It is not. The first 978 is the European article number, that's the GSI. It is the number for the international agency. Coincidentally, Nigeria have the 978, just like the International Center, which is the second 978. That's the country identifier. Other countries have their own identifier, but Nigeria's identifier is also 978. Then the third variable length is the publisher's identifier. All these things need to be checked when you are being issued a number. The title identifier is also there, and then the check digit, which checks if the ISSN is authentic, ISBN is authentic or not. Next slide, please. Categories of ISBN. We have 3 different categories of ISBN. The category of ISBN can be determined by the length of the publisher identifier. Just like it's on the screen there, the block of 10, it has a 5-digit long identifier. This block of ISBN cannot be shared amongst publishers. It's for just one publisher. And the fee is 10,000 naira. the block of 10 barcode is 4,000. If you want a barcode for your block of 10 number, it is 4,000 naira. Then we have the block of 100, which is the second category. It's a 4-digit long identifier, as you can see on the screen there, where we have 2,000, 978-978-2000. That's for block of 100. That's how you know the difference between the block of 10, the block of 100, and then the block of 1,000. And the fee for the block of 100 is 20,000. The barcode fee for block of 100 is 8,000. It's also given to publishers that, big-time publishers. For example, the University Press can have a block of 100. Big-time publishers, not just a single publisher. These are publishers that publishes serial publications, books, and monographs for people, and it's something that they have been doing always. It's not a one-time publisher. They have so many publications in their hand that they need to publish, so they need this number. And these are publishers that, when we give them the block of 100, they make sure they do the needful when it comes to legal deposits. Even the block of 10, if you are giving a block of 10, you must have at least, you must have 10 titles before you are qualified to be given a block of 10. And then if you are going to collect block of 100, you must have the whole 100 titles. We don't give numbers to publishers that don't have up to 10 or 100 for this category. Then we have the block of 1,000. It has a 3-digit long identifier, and it is 40,000 naira. The barcode is 16,000 naira. Then we have the single ISBN. It's the same thing as the block of 1,000, but this block of 1,000 is given to a particular publisher, a big-time publisher. For example, the University of Ibadan Press, they usually collect the block of 1,000 because they have access to publish all these books for their clients. So they are able to meet up with the 1,000 title before we give it to them. The single ISBN is only National Library that is giving the right to issue it out to single publishers, those that are author publishers or publishers that are publishing 1 or 2 books. And the fee is 3,500 naira. The barcode fee is 1,000 naira, sorry. Benefits, next please. Guidelines for physical ISBN application. The first thing you need to do if you're applying for ISBN is to write a formal letter, address it to the Director, International Standard and Programs Department. If you are a publisher, you must have a registered company. Thereby, you attach the CAC certificate of that company on your letter. And then if it's for individual author publishers, the individual will have to attach the valid ID card, either the international passport, voter's card, driver's license, or national ID. Then if you must have your visual proof of publication, that is your prefix, your preliminary pages. You must have it. That qualifies you for ISBN. If you don't have your preliminary pages, there's no way we can issue you with ISBN. And if you have collected number before, we expect that you should have an acknowledgement letter stating that you have deposited in any of our National Library branch. Then we have cataloging in publication is also recommended for ISBN. When you want to get your ISBN, we give you 3 forms to fill, whereby we will help you to catalog the forthcoming title that you want to publish, and then you attach it to your publication. And of recent, we have a verification portal whereby you can check if the ISBN that you are giving is genuine or not. Then guideline for online application. As you are all aware, we can apply for ISBN online. It's something that is ongoing. But before you can do that, you have to follow some steps. first you have to log into our website to see it. That's www.nll.gov.ng. Then you create a profile. When you create a profile, you fill all the forms, all the bibliographic details that you are supposed to fill. You enter it, then you make your payments and wait for your number. When you create your profile, I need to say this because it takes 2 days. You have to wait for 2 days for us to verify the details you sent to us at the back end. Then from there, if we are satisfied with all the details, we can issue you the number. Next, please. Benefits of ISBN and ISSN. One, it gives standardization. Like everybody have said, it makes your work to be standard. Uniformity of assignments, wider market audience. When you have your numbers, be it ISBN or ISSN, it gives you a wider market audience because it's going to appear on our National Bibliography of Nigeria, which gives you a free advert as a publisher. It appears there when librarians, bookstore owners are shopping for, they want to get books for their libraries or schools. They contact the NBN of National Library. And if you don't have numbers for your books, be it ISBN or ISSN, there's no way you can get it on the NBN. And then it will lead to you not having your book having a wider coverage. It will just be relegated to a particular place, a local area. But when you have the ISBN, ISSN number, it gives you a wider coverage, both internationally. Librarians used it for ordering of books, selection of materials for their libraries, and also schools also use it. Different people use our NBN. So it's expected that if you have it, it will give you a wider audience. And then it helps us to preserve our materials for posterity. It aids universal availability of our publication. ISSN also makes it possible for a country to keep track of all the intellectual produce emanating from the country within a specified period. For example, we have the Nigerian file of ISSN, whereby all the ISSN that we have issued, we publish it with the titles and the publishers. We used to do it before, it stopped at some time, but we have resuscitated it and we are going to start issuing it out again. So when you apply, when you visit the database, which will soon be online, you can view your books, your serial publication on that database because it's going to be online very soon. Then ISBN also helps in the compilation and auditing of book trade directories. ISBN ISSN is required for running of electronic point of book of sale. When you have your ISBN or ISSN, it helps you to sell your books faster in the bookshops. Next, please. Issues and challenges of ISBN and ISSN. Ignorance of the benefits of ISBN and ISSN. Most people are not aware of the benefits that we just highlighted now. So they go about not getting those standard numbers for their publication. Unscrupulous ISBN and ISSN agents, we have so many people outside deceiving people. Somebody will just form, okay, it's 13 digits, let me just write down something, and then they will give it to an author who doesn't know anything about it. It is only National Library that is mandated to issue these numbers. Please, don't patronize the fake ISBN or ISSN agents. If you want to get your numbers, please go to the branch. We have a branch in Uyo here. You can always get in touch with the head of branch. She will request for the number for you from Abuja, and it will be given to you. Wrong and incorrect ISBN conversion. Most people, initially they have 10 numbers. Okay, because we said the EAN number is 978. They will just add 978. You have altered it. We used our machine in the office to determine that number. So we are the ones to convert. You don't just convert. Because if you add 978 to it, you might as well have another person's number. So it's better you come to the National Library for conversion, and it is free, we don't charge. Incomplete metadata, no frequency, year of publication. Most people, when they apply for ISSN, ISBN, most especially ISSN, will have issues with them putting complete data. And if we don't have this metadata, there's no way we can send it to the International Center. Somebody will come and you will be asking, why didn't you put your frequency? You ask the publisher, go and put your frequency. You say, is it not frequency? I can just use my pen to write it. No, it should be on your application letter. Please include all your metadata, your bibliographic details. Let it be complete so that when we are sending it to the International Center, we'll have a complete details with the International Center. The non-compliance with the rules governing ISSN and ISBN. Most people don't comply. You want to cut corners. It is not allowed. Please get your numbers from National Library of Nigeria. Next, please. ISSN, ISBN barcode. This is a services that was recently launched in National Library of Nigeria. We issue barcode now to any publication that is a print publication. And barcode is a graphical representation of a publication, ISBN or ISSN. Barcodes are used on physical books, allowing them to be machine read. When you have your book with barcode, it will help you to be able to read it on the machine if it is taken to a bookshop for you. It helps you. And barcode helps to permit faster and more accurate transfer and recording of information, benefiting the track of work in process. You can use your barcode to take your stock of what you have on the system. Barcode saves time. Barcode number, the barcode validates the ISBN and ISSN number that is given to you. So we encourage you, when you apply for number, also apply for your barcode if it is print publication. Next, please. Cataloging in publication. The acronym is CIP, and it stands for Cataloging in Publication. The purpose is that it provides cataloging data to be printed on the copyright pages of forthcoming books. When you have a forthcoming publication that you applied ISBN for, it is expected that you also request for your CIP. It's a free services given by National Library. It's a free services given by National Library, and it is usually printed on the reverse side of the title page, which include descriptive, cataloging, subject analysis, assignment of your LC and Dewey Decimal Classification number, and then the ISBN. Next, please. Benefits of CIC. It helps for easy and quick cataloging and classification for librarians. For example, now, if you have the CIP from National Library and you purchase the book as a librarian, you don't need to start going back to catalog that book, because already it has been cataloged for you. So you just enter the details into your system or your card in your library. It also helps publishers to conform to international standard in their publication. If you look at foreign publications, when they come in, they come with their CIP. But for Nigeria, we don't see it. So we are encouraging every one of us as authors and publishers to please request for your CIP from National Library. It's free. The CIP record is also featured in the record of the National Bibliography of Nigeria. CIP assists librarians to minimize unnecessary duplication of cataloging data, thereby saving time and cost. The issues we have and challenges of CIP: inadequate awareness of CIP, incomplete bibliographic data, non-usage of CIP, wrong or inaccurate printing of CIP data. In conclusion, ISSN and ISBN are the mainstay of any publication. The National Library of Nigeria, as the Nigerian agency and center, is prepared to work with the publishers to ensure they comply with the procedures and requirements in issuing international numbers, and also educate them on the benefits. Already, workshops like these, radio jingles, and other means are already being applied towards that effect. I want you to please appreciate the National Librarian, even in absentia, because as she assumed office as National Librarian, one of the first things she did was to start digitizing the National Library materials. And it's something that it has never been done before. She's the one that started it. She ensures that she insisted that all National Library materials should be digitized so that it can be on the website and people can access it easily. So you all agree with me that she's not just an ICT expert alone, she's also a very good librarian. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. Madam, before you take over, please, let me recognize someone who came up here late, Professor Philip Akko, University Librarian, Federal University of Technology, Ikorabasi, the new one, the new gift from Buhari, the president.
Thank you, Mrs. Kayode, for that wonderful presentation. I hope you all listened attentively to what she said, but I'm going to do a short recap. You know, she talked about when it came to ISSN, she gave us the meaning of ISSN, and that is an 8-digit number divided in 2 groups of 4 digits. And she also mentioned where it is supposed to be presented in a journal or in a newspaper. And she also said that ISSN is meaningless if not communicated. And what does that mean? You come for ISSN, we issue you ISSN, you end up not publishing. It's meaningless. It's only when it's published that it becomes meaningful. Then she talked about online e-journals. When you come for e-journals, you are required to give their URL. And the URL will lead to the content and not to the home page. She also gave us the guidelines for application of ISSN. Then she talked about ROAD, R-O-A-D. That is a directory of open access journals, which is a new service we want to introduce in Nigeria. And the importance of ROAD is for scholarly and academic journals. And it checks against predatory publishers, which is an issue in the academic world. And then she came to ISBN. ISBN is a 13-digit number identifier. It identifies each edition of a book, and it has 5 elements. She talks about the category of ISBN, the guideline for manual ISBN, and guideline for online ISBN. And then the new verification portal is actually, we used to publish a Nigerian Publishers Directory. So it's a kind of directory for all ISBN assigned. So we have issues of publishers coming to check. I don't know, I want to know whether my ISSN is valid. You know, with that portal, you can check whether your ISBN is valid, or you can go to the international portal. Then she also talks about benefits of ISBN and ISSN, which gives us a wider publicity for our works, and that it also appears in Nigeria in MBN. Then challenges of ISBN and ISSN, we have fake agents that issue fake ISBN. Then she also mentioned barcode, which if you want to sell your book in a big retail store, you must have a barcode. Then the CIP, the importance of CIP is that it educates publishers on page layout. Because if you come to Nigerian books, you find out that the arrangement of the books are actually haphazard. Professor Chi, when my national librarian mentioned it, you know, it's haphazard. So when you come for your CIP, you are educated on the page layout. The benefits of CIP, like I have said, on the importance of having your book meet international standard. So that's a recap of what she talked about. So for questions, I would prefer if, I don't know what you people think, if the second presenter can present her paper so that we can now put down, so that we take the questions all together. Do you agree to that? Okay. So the second presenter is Mrs. Galadima. You are given 30 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Ma. The chairman of the occasion, Dr. Emmanuel Abraham, the representative of the Vice Chancellor of UYO, the management team of National Library of Nigeria, members of the high tables, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all for this August occasion. Why did I say August occasion? Because it's the first time the National Library is organizing sensitization workshop in UYO. My name is Mrs. Galadima, A.B. Galadima. I'm from the National Library of Nigeria. I'm here to present the title, Legal Deposit Obligations. So introduction, please, the slide introduction. National Library of Nigeria was actually established to ensure the building of informed and enlightened citizenry. National Library acquires, process, organizes, and provide information resources. National Library gets its material through legal deposits, purchase, gifts, and exchange. But our main focus this afternoon is on legal deposit obligations. Objective of the presentation is to create awareness of published works as an obligation, and also to inform publishers about what they stand to gain or benefit when they deposit their materials with the National Library of Nigeria, and also to identify the appropriate strategy that will improve the level of legal deposits. Please, the next slide. What is legal deposit? You may ask, what is legal deposit? Legal deposit, simply, I want to put it in a simple way. There's a definition you can see there, but let me just take one of them. Legal deposit is a legal requirement that the person of an organization submit copy of their publication to a depository, usually a library, like the National Library of Nigeria. So why legal deposit obligations, you may ask? Why legal deposit obligation? Please, why legal deposit obligation? I have two points here. Number one is to ensure that nations' documentary cultural heritage are collected. Number one, collected first. And the second one, they are processed. And the third one, they are preserved and made accessible to its citizens for their educational pursuit and informed decision making. So we don't just collect them and keep them, we still create access for the collection. That is why we are talking about legal deposit obligations. And the second one is to build the national depository. Just as you have the Central Bank of Nigeria that's in charge of money, National Library is the central bank of collecting books, intellectual output of the nation. Please, the next slide. Legal deposit obligation is enshrined in the Act. You know, the National Library of Nigeria has an Act. That is Act number 29, Section 4, subsection 1 to 7 of 1970, talks about legal deposit obligations, and it breaks them and explain each and every one of them, as you can see. So we are going to take one after the other. The first one is what to deposit. What are you expected to deposit with the National Library of Nigeria? You are to deposit all literary works, such as books, pamphlet, sheet of music, map, chart, plan, table, dramatic work, indigenous language. Those material that you publish in your indigenous language, you are actually expected to deposit them with the National Library of Nigeria. Collection books such as encyclopedias, yearbooks, dictionaries, newspapers, magazines, journals, everything that you publish in Nigeria, even though you publish outside Nigeria, but it's about Nigeria, you are expected to make deposits with the National Library of Nigeria. Next slide, please. Who should deposit? I know our previous speaker, the prof, talked about who to deposit. We have 3 categories as stated in the Act. We have category 1, private and commercial publishers. We have category 2, state government, its ministry, parastatals, and agencies. We have the 3rd one, the federal government, its ministry, and parastatals. Next slide, please. How many? Okay. How many copy is to be deposited? The copies to be deposited, they varies according to the categories as stated in the Act. The first category, which is the private and commercial publishers, are expected to deposit 3 copies of their publications. And then the federal government, its ministries, its parastatals, and agencies are expected to deposit 25 copies. And then the federal government and its the state government and its agencies are expected to deposit 10 copies each. Please, the next slide. Conditions of publication to be deposited. We already know that publishers of books, authors or publishers, are to deposit their book 1 month after publication, and they are expected to give us the perfect copies. Perfect copy of your publication, those ones that you publish and you know you want to sell to your readers, those are the ones you are expected to deposit with National Library, including those that have illustrations, colored, CDs. You are expected to deposit them, not just give us the book and then don't give us the CDs and the next slide, please. Penalty for not compliance. So there's penalty because you know it's an act, it's a law guiding you. So anything that has a law, when if you have a defaulter too, you pay as our officer said. They say when you don't keep to the law, you'll be arrested. That's what she said earlier. So there's penalty for not compliance. It's stated in the Act that when you don't comply and when you fail to comply and you are guilty for not complying, you're expected to pay £50. Not just paying the £50 alone, you are still going to make the numbers of deposit expected. Don't say, okay, if I pay the £50, I will not make the deposit. No. You are going to pay the £50 and you're still going to make the deposit. So which one is better? Is it not better you comply in the first stage by depositing? Abi? So let's go to the next slide, please. Okay. Benefit of legal deposit compliance. There are benefits, what you stand to gain as a publisher that deposits your material with the National Library of Nigeria, and what the nation stands to gain as a country. We stand to gain when this intellectual heritage are deposited with the National Library of Nigeria. And for the first one now is preservation of the nation's intellectual output for future generations. So when you deposit your material with the National Library of Nigeria, it is preserved for the future generation. It outlives you. Even after you have gone, your material is still in the National Library of Nigeria. Anybody can have access to it. Let me tell you one, should I call it a story or a testimony? Okay, there's an author that published a book years back, and he deposited with the National Library of Nigeria. So, and there's an institution that demanded for that book that he published years back, but he couldn't find the book anymore in his possession. What did he do? He reached out to the publishers of the book, and the publishers still do not have any copy of the book. But the man remembered that he deposited with the National Library of Nigeria. He came back to the National Library of Nigeria and requested for that book. He said, please, I deposited so book. I cannot reach it. Nobody can. I don't have. The publisher does not have. And National Library lent him the book. He went to reproduce that book, sold the book, and then returned the book National Library lent it to him, and then gave us extra copies, and he was paid. So if I may ask, who benefited? Is it National Library or the author? Who was the money paid to? Who made the sales? Actually, it was the author and the publisher. So he benefited. If he had not deposited, he wouldn't have been able to reproduce that book because he could not find it anywhere. He only found it in National Library. So that is another benefit. Bibliographic control of the nation publications, which my colleague has talked about that, so I will not dwell much on that. And because bibliographic, the National Library is actually supposed to give the statistics of number of material published in Nigeria by state, year, but because we don't have compliance, they don't comply, so you can't give that detail. The next one is legal deposit materials collected, are processed, and listed in the National Bibliography of Nigeria, which is circulated both locally and internationally. My colleagues said that we give you free advert. You are getting free advert from National Library for depositing your material in the National Library. And I will tell you another story again. There's an author that deposited his material with the National Library of Nigeria, and it was enlisted in the National Bibliography of Nigeria, and the National Bibliography got to the American Embassy. That's a publisher that needed a title that he wanted in that book. When he got back to America, he contacted the author and requested for that book. And then the book was purchased and it was paid in dollars. I know you'll be asking, how did I know that story? I know you'll be asking in your mind. Of course, the author came back to National Library of Nigeria to appreciate National Library that my book was bought and I was paid in dollars. Why? Because he deposited 1 month and it was published for him. So he got free advert. And we asked again, the money paid to the author, was the dollar paid to National Library or to the author that sold the book? That is a good benefit. And then the other one is the publisher's name will be listed in the publisher directory section of the National Bibliography of Nigeria, which many authors, organizations, including library, consult. As my colleague said earlier, if they want to purchase book, organizations, schools, and even individual librarians, they use the MBN. That's where they make selection of their books if they want to buy books. So I think that's a very good benefit. Your book will be selected for purchase without you being there, just because National Library of Nigeria has given you free advert for depositing. That is a wonderful benefit, don't you think so? And then the next one, in case of litigation and subpoena, the legal deposit copy is the authentic copy accepted by law in case of litigation. It's only National Library copy that is accepted. And the next benefit is legal deposit award. National Library encourage those that comply, that deposited their material on time, within the specific time. They encourage them by giving them an award. And then the other one, National Library, if you want to buy books, some publisher comes to National Library of Nigeria, please, I publish this book, buy for me, buy my book, buy my book. National Library will not consider buying your book if you don't deposit with the National Library of Nigeria. So if you want National Library of Nigeria to purchase your book, you have to make deposits of your book, that your book can be considered for purchase. 2019 that we did RPC, RPC is ongoing, we did RPC, we selected some books from those people that deposited their material with the National Library of Nigeria, and we bought almost 70 copies for each of the titles from those publishers, because we donate those books to schools, secondary schools. That is the benefit. You are making money as well as you are depositing your material with the National Library. Statistics, please, the next slide, the statistics. You can see it's not the true picture of the material published in Nigeria. Will you agree with me that a whole Nigeria, when I did a research recently and I want to find out the title of book published in Nigeria by Nigeria. I saw 1,314. And they said Nigeria is the third largest publishers of book in Nigeria. Do you believe that a whole Nigeria will only publish 1,000? That is the statistic the person that put it in Google could get. But look at it. It's not the true reflection of what is being published in Nigeria. If we have publishers and authors that truly comply, we have more than this. Don't you think so? The next slide, please. Collection of electronic publications. National Library of Nigeria collects online publications now. As my colleague earlier said, we are digitizing our material. So we collect both hard and soft copies. So we are encouraging our authors and publishers here to please deposit their material, both hard and soft copies. So as you are coming to make your deposit, we have an email address that you can send your soft copy to. It's legalacknowledgementcopy@gmail.com. legalacknowledgementcopy@gmail.com. Please, you can help us to encourage. We are encouraging the public to send the soft copy to that website, to that email address. Please, the next slide. Strategy adopted by the National Library of Nigeria to ensure compliance. National Library, National Library is not just sitting and say comply. National Library too is doing something. Like what we are doing right now, we are doing annual sensitization where we create awareness in the 6 geopolitical zones of the Federation. That's what National Library is doing. And then the notice on the activation of the legal deposit award I talked earlier. And then demand for proved of legal deposit acknowledgement letter. So if you want to apply for ISBN, ISSN, if for your pass number that you're giving to you, if you don't bring the proof of acknowledgement letter that you deposited your material before with the National Library of Nigeria, you will not be issued a new ISSN, ISBN. You will not be issued at all. We usually do online. Even though you go online, say, okay, I don't want to go to the office to request for ISBN, I want to do online. Even at online, we have to accept you for you to continue your application. So it's very important that when you deposit, please keep your acknowledgement letter. It's very important because you will always need it. Then prompt production of National Bibliography of Nigeria, which I've talked earlier on. We embark on aggressive legal deposit drive to publishing house. There's a saying that says, if the mountain does not go to Muhammad, Muhammad will go to the mountain. So now when we are doing that, we now go to publishing houses to collect the legal deposit. If you say you don't have time, we come to you to collect the materials from you. That's what we are doing. And then another, we monitor announcement and advertisement in national and international newspaper, radio, television, book launch. You don't need to invite us. Once we hear in the radio that you are launching any book here, we don't appear. Sharp. I attended a book launch. So when they saw me, I came, I was there, and I say, where are you from? I say, from National Library of Nigeria. They took me to the high table and tell me, madam, come and launch our book. I said, I'm not here to launch your book. I'm here to enforce the legal deposit obligations. I'm here to collect my 3 copies. They started laughing. They thought I was, but that is the truth. That was why I'm not there to launch. I'm there to collect our legal deposit. But I did collected it. And then we visit government, department, ministry, agency, because they are so important documents in the government offices where they are just kept there. So we go there to liaise and get those material like the Gazette, bulletin, where you need some vital information. We go there to collect them. We don't wait for the government to come to us now. Now we go to them. And then the notes, as I've said earlier, we only purchase book for those that comply. Now we have decentralization of legal deposit center. So each branch, previously before you have to go to Uyo to deposit your material. But now you have a branch in Uyo here. You don't need to go to Calabar. You don't need to go to Abuja to make your deposit. It's not decentralized. You can deposit your material in Uyeye and it will still get to the headquarters. And now we collaborate and partner with Third Fund. So if you are a lecturer that want to write your book and you want Third Fund to sponsor your work, Third Fund will not sponsor your work if you don't bring your proof of acknowledgement later. So we partner with them now. If you want Third Fund to sponsor your work, your publication, you have to make deposits. The next slide, please. What are the challenges we are facing on the legal deposit? One of the challenges is not adherence to submission of perfect copies as stipulated in the Legal Deposit Act. Perfect copies. But there are some books that we worked on in our office they were like trash, like they just came there and threw trash. Some of the books, their printing were very faint. Some of them are upside down. If you want to work there, you have to turn it this way. Some of them do not have ISBN number. Some of them, can you imagine, how can you print a book and you don't have year of publication in your work? No year of publication. Those are like you are throwing trash to National Library. No, we said the perfect copy. So that's one of the challenges we are facing. They are not perfect. There was one that I had to use sellotape because we are working, as we open it, pages were just pulling off. So I had to take sellotape and then sellotape it so that we don't lose pages of the book. Those are one of the challenges. Another challenge we are facing is late submission of their publication. They say 1 month. You can imagine we're in 2022. Some people still bring their material that they published in 2014. You are just making deposit now. And you expect it to enter the BBO. It will not enter the MBN because it's an annual publication. We are doing annual publication and we are now doing 2021. You are now bringing 2014, 2013 to National Library. That is the challenges we are facing. Another of the challenges we are facing is submission of incomplete copies of the publication. Some people, they are not aware now. Some people say they are not aware, but this one, you are aware that you're supposed to give us 3 copies of your publication. And then you come to National Library of Nigeria and give us 1 copy. What happened to the 2? You're supposed to give 2. Those are the challenges. So if you bring 1, we will not reject it. We accept it. But we include it in our acknowledgement later that you are owing us 2 copies, outstanding 2. You are supposed to give 3. You gave us 1. You are owing us 2. So anyway, you are taking your acknowledgement later too. You are being seen as a debtor. You are still owing National Library 2 copies. So is there anywhere you are going? It's going with you. So if you want to have clean acknowledgement later, make deposit of your 3 copies and we give you clean acknowledgement later. And then another one, they say another challenge, they say they are not aware. They are not aware. They don't know about the legal deposit law, especially lecturers in the university where you have professors and doctors. They say they are not aware of the legal deposit law. Our prof has gone. Oh, okay. So that it will help us to tell his colleagues that we still need material from the university. We are not getting, okay, we have one, yes, sir. We are not getting material from the lecturers. They say they are not aware. So that's why we are doing the sensitization. Please, you can help us pass the message to them at all. Okay, another challenge is that because we are not enforcing the legal deposit penalty. We are not enforcing it for now. We still want to see crates. We are still making the sensitization for everybody to know. Very soon we'll be enforcing the law. Please, the next slide. The way forward. What is the way forward? Publishers are to ensure that they deposit perfect copies of their publications. So we are appealing, please, to the publishers and authors here. Please help us to deposit perfect copies of your material. That is the way forward. The second one, your material should be deposited 1 month after publication. Please don't start giving us after you've published, after 5 years, you are bringing it to National Library. Please, it's an appeal that please, you can help us deposit your material 1 week after publication. And then please keep to the required number of copies that we said. If you are a private commercial, please give us the 3 copies. If you are federal government, ministry and agency, please give us the 25 copies. If you are state UYO, please give us the 10 copies. And then cooperation, we need cooperation from the federal government. We are going to continue sensitization. So we continue sensitize until everybody is aware of this sensitization law. And then the enforcement of the legal deposit penalty. As said earlier, very soon we'll start enforcing the law. And then collaboration and partnership. We now included that National Library should have a representative in the Nigerian Publishers Association of Nigerian Authors. Conclusion. Building and projecting the nation's intellectual heritage to the world through bibliographic services is a function of the National Library. To effectively perform this mandate, the National Library needs the cooperation of the authors, the publishers, booksellers, other stakeholders in the book industry. Building our national depository is our civic responsibility. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. Before Madam comes in, there's an announcement that certificates will be issued to beneficiaries in this workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Galadima, for that presentation, and she was even within her time frame given to her. Then a quick recap. Legal deposit obligation, what does it mean? Nigeria, that is National Library, acquires material through legal deposit and other means. Objective, she mentioned objective of the legal deposit and what legal deposit means. It's an intellectual collection of intellectual heritage for preservation and also made accessible to users. The legal deposit obligation is enshrined in an act. So for people who come to us, like she said, and they'll bring one copy and tell us it's a complimentary copy. We don't need your complimentary copy. We just want you to observe the law. She also mentioned what to deposit: literary works, musical scores, journal, everything that is published must be deposited in National Library. And who should what is the benefit of depositing? You know, so when you deposit your 3 copies, we purchase extra.
to give the ISSN.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That is understood for administrative logistics. The one I heard also was URL.
Thank you, sir. URL is the address of a website. Address of a website. That's what a URL is. Then, where ISSN should be displayed, we said upper right corner of the book, of the publication, or the editorial page. Newspapers usually write it at the back of where the editorial details is. Thank you.
The URL is for online. I think is a unified resource location. For each online publication, you need your URL. Your URL is something like www.dat.com. That is for the home page. But if we are going to have your URL for the journal, the content, you are going to now say www like blaze.com/, slash. You start putting all those slash, so that once we open it, and it must be an active URL, it must be an active website, so that once we open it, it leads us to the content. That is the articles, and it must be 5 articles before you can be issued ISSN for online.
Okay.
Sir, just 1 minute. There is something you have impacted on the public now which a lot of people are not aware of. We hear URL. We never knew that it's Uniform Resource. Uniform Resource what? Location. That is what they have told us today.
That's the full
I think
meaning.
we have learned something. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We have learned something now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
The same person from Pioneer had also wanted to know where exactly do you locate ISSN number on the newspaper? You have answered that one. Okay. They say we are here at the city center. How do we take this message to the grassroots? And then the penalty, why is it in pound?
Thank you very much, sir. You know the act was established in 1960. Then Nigeria was still 1950, 64. Then Nigeria was using pound because we were under the British rule at that time. So it was pounds that we are using. So, but now the equivalent of that amount, how much will it be? I don't know. But we are working on the act to convert it to the later to our naira. So it's not like it's British pound. It's what Nigeria was using at that time. We're using pounds at that time. So the law has been amended to convert it to naira, the equivalent of that to naira. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So hopefully we need to find out, has it been amended to 50 naira? So we need to know what is the equivalent as at now. The other question is that supposing you had a publication that had 2 frequencies, and suddenly the publisher wants to reduce the frequency to less. Is it allowed?
Yes, it is, on the basis that you inform the National Library so that we can send the details back to the International Center.
The other one is saying, in a university system where you have any publication, especially journals, whether the state, private, public, how do we classify the journals?
Thank you very much, sir. So we classify it based on, if it's a federal university, if the university is a federal university, we classify it under like government too. You are going to give us 25 copies. So if it's a federal, it's the same thing as government publication, federal government. So you are giving us 25 copies. But if it's a state university, it's still the same thing. You are giving us 10 copies. If it is private university, you are giving us 3 copies. So the same applies to all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is, in case, is it if it is being published in the full name of the university? What if it is, say, Topfair University Law Journal? It's from the Faculty of Law or Department of Law. Okay, so it's taken as if it is. Okay, thank you. The other one is saying that the publisher of Yellow Pages, Sir Akpabio, is saying that listening to the presenters, you will look very strict. That you should have come in here to encourage us since we are coming here. So, and upon all your smiles, you need to give us encouragement. So what word of encouragement do you have for us?
Thank you very much. I thought I was smiling. Wasn't I smiling? I was smiling now. And I told you some good story that we encourage you to deposit your material with the National Library. If you think we are not smiling enough, so I want to smile now. Is it okay? Okay, thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's courteous enough. The most important thing is the message that we should attempt to comply and ensure that we run smoothly. Does National Library of Nigeria have anything to do with royalties?
No, National Library of Nigeria does not have anything. We have nothing to do with royalty. Sorry, we have nothing to. Our own is just to collect legal deposit materials, process them, preserve them. So royalty is not. The only thing we do for National Library to encourage is when we buy your book.
Check one. Thank you.
This one was saying someone is editing or publishing for a magazine for a company. He was asking, is it ISSN or ISBN? Yes.
ISSN that the person needs to get. But before you can get the ISSN, we need to do a title verification to avoid title duplication. Like I said earlier, we need to verify if that title is free for you to use. Thank you.
The same person said he's been publishing some books, producing some books. He didn't have the knowledge of these deposits. It's now asked, is it late to bring copies now that he's aware?
No, it's not late. You know, I told you that National Library is the depository. So it's not late. You can still bring them so that we can preserve them for future generations. So it's still, you can still bring them. We still collect. Even though you have 2,000, bring them. We still collect them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, just one question. I saw one person who asked somewhere around here, which I didn't catch because I was attending. No, the person already asked. I don't know whether the person is out. Okay. Since your hand is very up, can you come forward, please? Let's take you in place of that. Okay, two of you come now. You've already started the journey. Okay. Do you have microphone there? Yes, sir. Don't worry. Let him bring you for the microphone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, audience, for the opportunity. My question is, my name is Prince Obot. I publish for Nottingham. I find it easy to get ISBN, but it takes time to get ISSN. What's the challenge, ma?
Okay. Give it to him.
I am Samuel Abasekong. I'm a reporter writing for Watchman Post newspaper. My question is this. Is the National Library only giving ISBN, ISN without reading the books? Because you find out that some books are not worth publishing. I just come, I apply for ISBN, ISSN for newspaper, magazine, or textbook, and they just issue it to me without reading. Now, if you read, when you discover that the book is not worth publishing, do you not withdraw the number? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think you have heard two issues. He said for ISBN it's quicker, but ISSN takes longer. The question is, what is the challenge?
Thank you very much, sir. For ISSN, like I said, we need to do a title verification, and it takes process. It takes a long process. It takes about 10 days, but we have reduced it to 3 days now. And at times, we run out of numbers. Requesting for number from the International Center takes 2 weeks. When we apply for number, the numbers that we're giving needs to be sent back to the International Center, and we send it as we are doing it. So it takes them 2 weeks to check their website to see that we've remitted all the numbers that we collected. So that's when they give us new numbers. So that's more reason why ISSN delays, unlike ISBN that you can get instantly. We need to do a title check first, and then you publish. Unlike ISBN, ISSN, you have to publish that publication first. After we have issued it, after we've given you the go-ahead that your title is free. Because at times, some people who want to publish a particular title, for example, let me use my name, maybe Kayode newspaper, and already there's somebody using Kayode newspaper, and you apply for the number, you apply for title verification, will tell you this title is not free because a particular publisher is using it. But because you want to insist that, let me add something, we say, okay, print Kayode Meriam newspaper. If we give you the ISSN, you might not go and publish Kayode newspaper. You might go and publish Kayode newspaper, which is not for you. So that is why we insist, before you can get number, we do a title verification. If it is approved for you, you go ahead and publish, then apply for number.
Thank you very much. The last one now. National Library of Nigeria gives ISSN, ISBN, and all that. The question is, does it just dole out these numbers without reading the materials to certify that these materials are fit for publication? That looks like what I heard.
Like she said, ISB and ISSN are identifiers. You know, they are not linked to the content. Like, it's just like you have a car. You have a car, and you have a plate number. You know, let me use, somebody has a black Honda car, maybe Baby Boy, I don't know, maybe, or Toyota Camry. You have a Toyota Camry, blue color. You also have a Toyota Camry blue color. What distinguishes this Toyota Camry from that other Toyota Camry? Is it on a number plate? Yes. That is exactly what ISBN does. It identifies each edition of a book, just like ISSN. You know, so it's not linked to the content of the book or the journal. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I'd like to thank you once again for this wonderful audience and attention, I think I'll leave you in the hands of the MC to tidy up the closing and departure formalities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, wonderful chairman. Can you put your hands together for the paper presenters? It's not easy to present this kind of wonderful papers. And I am only glad for one thing, madam, that in 2010, Golden Times newspaper applied for ISSN number. We did all what we can, and then the verification was allowed for Golden Times, not with TIMES. Then we applied and paid for it. But it took us close to 1 year to have that number. Then it was 2010, I got it in 2011. And that was in Calabar. But we are happy today that you have announced to us that under few days, we can have the ISSN number. Being that correct, we are so grateful as publishers and journalists. Now, I also would like to say that we are grateful for a wonderful presentation. Can we encourage them? Can we encourage them? Then, good people, let me bring on board the woman that is able to bring us to this kind of wonderful place. Let me tell you, if I whisper to you, the truth is that this hall costs 350,000 naira for it. 450,000 naira. So, for us to have a wonderful woman who is able to attract us to this place with whatever we could do and bring people like us to compare the occasion for us, which he is yet unable to pay. Good people, I am so happy for all of you to be here. Let me bring on board Helen Ebi to give us our remarks. Thank you very much.
Moderator. Good afternoon once again, everybody, the stakeholders. The chairman of this great event, the management staff of National Library of Nigeria, the representative commissioner of education, representative deputy governor, Akwa Ibom State, the president, book club network and readers promotion in Nigeria. I may not be able to mention all. The lecturers, researchers, presidents, conference, association of booksellers and marketers, the journalists, the authors, the publishers, all meaningful ladies and gentlemen. I cannot complete without acknowledging my officer, Sean Ma. You are welcome. I want to really extend my appreciation to everybody. Please, if I have failed to mention your name, you have been recognized. We are so much appreciative to everybody as you left your comfort zone, all your busy schedule of duties, to be with us today. Please permit me to really thank the governor and the governments of Akwa Ibom State for giving us this enabling environment, bringing National Library to the doorpost. The people of Akwa Ibom State are very grateful. Much thanks goes to the MD Watbridge. Without him, the president, the founder, Uyo Book Club, without him, to even see the MD, it is not a joke. You will be on queue. Before you book this hall, not to talk of the money, 400,000 goes for one-day events. But to God be the glory. It's a miracle. He didn't even want to know, do you have money or you don't have money? Come and host. That's a plus to him and to National Library. We give God the glory for today, and the weather so far, so good. I want to encourage all of us. So please do well to pass through National Library. We are at State Library Board, Udot Streets. Don't keep patronizing quacks. We are there. It doesn't take you more than 2 days to get your number, consult us. You know, whatever problems you have, consultancy services, we are there for you. We are working. Come and see what we are doing. If you feel that you can take some things to your community hard to reach, come and see us. We come and open libraries there. At least we have more to impact. The library space is so broad that it is not limited to publication of books. After publication of books, who is reading it? People are finding it difficult to come to the library, and we are ready, working round the clock, to make sure that we take library services to hard to reach, to every corner and to even your village, establishing e-library services to people, so that at the end of the day, let it be that through your name, you have been able to do that for your people. So I want to equally use this opportunity to invite some of us. We have what we call a readership promotion campaign, a mandate to National Library too. We are to host that once a year, and it's a week after today. And that will be done in Abak local government. What was that? Abak local government council hall on the 9th of November 2022. That's next week. Last year, we hosted a very big one at Sirubum. That was this local government. Sirubum. We are about to do that too. And that's how getting closer to us. Maybe next year, because of that relationship, we'll take one to your local government and then take some other smaller programs to your village, so that you too, your people will now know that, oh, I have somebody there who is really creating this impact in us. Thank you. I don't want to take so much time because our food is almost cold, so that all of us can have something to, you know. I appreciate you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I wish you journey mercies back to your destination. In Jesus' name. Thank you.
Can you put your hands together for this wonderful lady? I told all of you that all ladies are women, but not all women are ladies. Put your hands together again for Ellen A.B. It's wonderful. Good people, Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. Let me also give you a vote of thanks, Mr. Chairman, for the direction. We could have all gone before the lectures, but you told us, let us have the lectures before the meal. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, sir, to attain success, both natural talent and tears, blood and sweat will be called for. Genius is 1% inspiration, but 99% perspiration. Good people, in that note, I would like to say, let us pray. I thank you, Heavenly Father, for this goodness. We thank you for the occasion. It has been a wonderful day. For the clement weather, we thank you. For the organizers, we thank you. For all those who have made the day, we thank you. Father, take our people back to their destination in safety in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Madam A.B. will lead us to the lunch. Lunch and dinner time.
Every little thing you did do to me, it's sweet to me for body. She your loving fee follow me. Wow, 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 wow. Get your ball and make her go crazy.
You can step outside there and have your certificate. Please, madam, Madam, group photographs with the high table. Group photographs with the high table. Madam AB. Madam AB. Please, can we go down for group photographs? Group photographs here. Chairman, group photographs here.
Another day for you, baby. Quit my casting over ways for you, baby. The only time that you say that you hate me is when I take the last slice of pastry. Now I'm on the run. Loving you till kingdom come, but you drive me crazy. Send someone, still my girl, baby. I see they be. I'm all you did at me like by me. I just wanna be there when you need me. Baby, now your matter how they leave. Seen all day, yeah.
Take shit, vibe killer. Yeah, be somebody that don't take my energy from your bad aura. Let my pastor say I be my healer, everything I desire. I go this deep, my rhythm. Flow like a river. If you get sour, come on, go and sit down. I go just para, come on, my trigger. I go just play, follow my lead. I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm a ticking dynamite. I blow your candle lights. You know I'm just that type. No, there's nothing kill my vibe. Kill my vibe. You know fi kill, you know fi kill, you know fi kill my vibe. I see you watching my stories. I see you getting my lifestyle. I see you watching my movements. This bad bitch bad every day. I know they look at your face. Bad man bad every day. Get on your knees and pray. Do you regain your faith? You know I'm